Hi, I'm Ron Timmermans, and welcome to the Florida Aviation Network. Today we're broadcasting live and in the clear from the 45th Annual EAA Sun and Fun International Fly-In and Expo at Lakeland Linder International Airport, Lakeland, Florida. It's great to have you with us. We've got an incredible lineup of wonderful guests that we'll be interviewing this week, and already have interviewed some. Our guest for this next half hour is Mr. Eric Crump. Eric is the program director at Polk State College right here at Lakeland, Florida. Eric, it's great to have you with us this afternoon.
Ron,
welcome to the show.
Thanks very much for the invite. Happy to be here.
Well, that's good. That's good. So, not everyone knows about Polk State College. I know I've been learning a lot in the few minutes leading up to this interview,
Sure.
Speaking with you, but could you share with our audience some of the things that you'd like us to know about Polk State College and your involvement?
Sure. So, Polk State is only 6 years old. So I guess we're still is that a toddler or something like that?
Something
I don't know,
like
in the child age range.
Yes, but
Polk
growing
State,
rapidly.
But growing extremely
As
rapidly.
children
So Polk State started as an idea of meeting the industry demand that we all know exists, and focused first on training pilots, knowing that we would also have to address maintenance technicians and figure out what we were going to do with drones later on, and that we wanted to be in front of changes that we knew were coming, as opposed to the traditional model, which was always reacting to things after they broke, right? We don't want to do it that way. So we had the ability to start off with a curriculum that is tried and true. The aviation university system has been around for a long time, churning out a lot of pilots. And we decided instead to approach it from a different way. I joke around a lot and say, one of the most dangerous things in the world is a bunch of academics in a corner writing curriculum. Because it tends to be very out of context with what's really needed. So what we did was to assemble a group of, I think right now our advisory board is about 65 people from industry. Now these are practicing professionals who were so thrilled to be asked, what should we teach people? It said they had always wanted to participate at that level but didn't know how. So we got these movers and shakers and thinkers in the industry in a room and said, what do you want them to know? They gave us a very long list of things that they wanted them to know, and that's what we built our curriculum to do, was specifically to address industry needs, and then to continue that dialogue over time to make sure that our curriculum was always forward-looking, as opposed to, again, being reactive when changes came.
So, Eric, your industry partners that you mentioned are from throughout the aviation industry or local here to the Lakeland area?
Throughout the industry. The fact that people will commute from New York and Los Angeles and Dallas to come over here for an advisory board meeting, it still blows my mind, but it shows you that our industry really does want to collaborate, and they really do want to come to the table, and they really do want to help. We're a state college, and for people who don't know what that means state budget, right? So our tuition is fixed and locked by the state of Florida, and our primary source of income comes from the legislature of Florida. They determine every year how much money we have to operate on. We collect the tuition to pay faculty and staff, but our budget is constrained by the state. And so if it weren't for these partners coming to the table and saying, would you like a curriculum on a CRJ 700? Yes, I would love to have that, because there's no way we could build that ourselves, and there's no way we could afford to buy it. So those collaborative partnerships are what made our program possible to begin with, and what's led it on. I'm not an airline pilot. I didn't go that direction. I thought that's what I was going to do when I went to college, but I was the first person in my family to go to college, and I was the only person in my family to be interested in aviation. So we had no idea what aviation jobs were. I just thought I was going to be an airline pilot because my vision wasn't good enough to fly for the Air Force. So I go to college and realize that aviation is this huge mix of different jobs. And I joke with our students sometimes, this is my 14th aviation job. And they, man, you must be really bad at it. I'm like, no, there were just that many different opportunities that I wanted to try. So I was, after training, I knew that I loved training. I knew that I loved curriculum and instruction, and that's what I was going to do eventually. I went into corporate aviation, loved that piece of the journey, loved meeting people and learning new things, getting to fly all sorts of cool places, but I really missed teaching and instruction. And that's what eventually led me back into that, and eventually led me to Polk. Polk was an idea when I came in September of 2012. I mean, the college was committed to it, they had advertised it, but we didn't have a program, we didn't have any students. So in January 2013, when the program started, we really didn't know if anybody was coming or not. We really had no idea. That first semester I had 9 students. I had 3 airplanes and 2 flight instructors.
Wow.
That was the first semester. By the second semester we had 50. By the second year I had 100.
My goodness.
And today we're 287 students.
287 students. So from humble beginnings, great things
Crazy.
often happen. That's wonderful, and that's
Well, it's about access and opportunity. I mean, I'm quick to tell people, Florida is if you want to learn to fly, Florida is arguably, in my opinion, probably the best place in the world you can go. We've got the weather, we've got great training airspace. We just got so many different benefits that exist to us.
And there's quite a few airports in Florida as well.
Polk County has 4 municipal airports just in Polk County. So it's so easy to learn to fly here from that perspective. But we have great private options in Embry-Riddle, FIT, Jacksonville University. Great schools. They've been around for a very long time, have a great reputation. But the cost associated with the cost of flight training is already prohibitive to most people. They automatically, even if they're in love with it, they'll tune out the option because they're afraid of the cost.
Yeah.
Right. But then when you couple that with thousands and thousands and thousands of hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt, it's not an appealing option to a lot of people.
Indeed, it's not. So at Polk State College, you offer a number of degrees that are aviation related. Tell us about those, if you would.
So I have 3 associate's degrees: professional pilot science, which is exactly what it sounds like. I like airplanes, to having a commercial certificate in 2 years. It's intense, but it's a lot of fun. Our aviation maintenance management program is, again, an interesting collaborative degree. We have 3 Part 147 schools between Tampa and Orlando. So there's one here on the field with us in Travis Technical College. We have National Aviation Academy in Clearwater. And then you have the Aviation Institute of Maintenance in Orlando. It didn't make sense for us to build a 4th 147 program. So instead we partnered with them and said, hey guys, if you could do the hands-on, the technical, but we could do the supervision and management training, we could prepare these guys not only for their first job to go to the shop floor and turn wrenches, but for their second job as a supervisor at the airline or wherever they go to work. And that's been an incredibly successful degree program for that reason, because it's collaborative and it makes sense to people, and the industry has loved it.
Okay.
We also have the 3rd degree in aviation administration, which is like your business degree, but for aviation.
I see.
And then the 4th is the bachelor's degree. So we were the first public entity in Florida to offer a baccalaureate degree in aviation in 2013, which was amazing.
The first public entity.
Yeah,
First
yeah.
public
So
university.
again, you've got great private schools that exist, but there just wasn't an option for to get a degree that, I hate to say affordable, but I mean, really, at the end of the day,
More affordable.
More affordable for sure.
Yeah, okay. And of the 287 students that now attend and are students of yours at Polk State College, how many of them are in each of those degree programs?
So pilot is our biggest degree program. It's about 96 students in there, and then maintenance is around 60 or 70 right now. I'm not sure exactly. The administration degree is the smallest of the 3 of them. But then in our baccalaureate degree, so the first 2 years is that associate's degree. Everybody gets an associate's degree. And then, if you want to stick around, you can do the bachelor's degree.
Okay.
But when we built it, knowing that people were going to have the opportunity to get jobs and whatever, because I was in that shape, I watched my fellow pilot students in college go, look, the degree is important, but I've got a job waiting on me, I'm going to go do that. And then when 9/11 happened, they had nothing to fall back on because they had no degree. All they could do was fly airplanes. I never wanted that to happen, so we built our baccalaureate degree to be entirely online. I actually had a pilot student graduate a year ago from his crash pad in San Juan, Puerto Rico. He took his last exam from his crash pad in San Juan. What it does is it
already
allows,
working for an airline.
Exactly,
then.
but
Yes.
it allows the students to go ahead and pursue those great career options my thing is, this is 2019. You shouldn't have to choose between a career or education. We can do both now.
Yeah, they need to be
we
blended.
should be focused on that. Yeah.
Indeed. So the bachelor's degree then in a specific discipline, or is it?
It's the degree is in aerospace science.
Aerospace science.
And it has two concentrations within it for professional pilot and also for aerospace administration.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
some of the graduates then go on to work for air route traffic control, or?
We haven't had I've maybe had 2 or 3 that have gone into ATC. You know, if you're familiar with the new selection process that exists in ATC, the old advantage of going to a collegiate training initiative program and being pre-trained really is mostly gone away. And so they have this new weird selection process that it's, I don't want to say it's like a lottery, but the advantage just isn't there anymore to having gone through college specific to ATC. But I've had 3 that pursued it who were definitely very interested in that and but they did a degree with us in aviation administration, so that now in their mind they're a double threat. So
Yeah.
even if the ATC
Double
thing
threat, I
didn't
like
work
that.
out, they have this holistic education they can apply and still stay in aviation. That's the big thing.
Great. Well, so your students now, the graduation rate very good? Do you have some dropouts or mostly?
I mean, overall the graduation rate is maybe 84% or so,
Very
which
good.
is very good. Obviously in the pilot track, that's where you're going to have your lowest completion rate. You know, and I think people are really hesitant to talk about completion rates in pilot degrees. But I think we should be really upfront and honest about that sort of thing. Learning to fly is not especially hard, but it does require a level of commitment that requires a certain kind of passion. I've known a lot of students who come into the program, I want to fly. And when you're faced by the hours of self-study that it takes and the grueling schedule that you're going to have to fly, you realize that they had an interest but not a passion, if you know what I mean.
I do.
And to do this at the pace that we do it, I mean, every 4 months you're taking a check ride. To stick with that and to do it, you have to have a passion for aviation, a really developed desire to do it. And so, you know, we've had several of our students who the collegiate training model didn't work for them, but we've been able to find them Part 61 homes that they can go to, and they've done so well. Actually, I just talked to one of our students the other day who has an interview next week with a corporate operator.
Very good.
The college training model just didn't work for him, but I don't want people to say, well, then if that doesn't work, it's not for me. That's not the case. It's not either or, right? So there is an approach there for you, and we just want to see more people in the field, as we know what the need is. Like I said, we talked to our industry partners, and they're freaked out about the need too.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that people find the path. And if it's not with us, that's fine. But stay in aviation.
Right,
Stay the
and get an
course.
education as well. So
Absolutely.
you offer both here.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that students at Polk State College earn various certificates. So to the 2-year associate's degree, what can a pilot young man or young woman look for in pilot certificates when they finish the 2-year degree?
So our minimum graduation requirements are commercial single engine, but many of our graduates will go on and go ahead and do the multi-engine rating as well, and we offer the flight instructor, instrument instructor, and multi-engine instructor. We have an elective for seaplane as well, high performance. We really want people to pursue what I would call the non-traditional path. If there's something else that you're really interested in, I had a student who came to me. She told me day one when she walked in the door, she said, all I want to do is fly Twin Otters in Greece. That's my dream.
Twin Otters in Greece.
I want to fly seaplanes in the Greek Isles.
I'd say that's pretty specific, isn't it?
It's a very specific, and I was like, wow, that's an oddly specific thing. She went through our training, she did extremely well, became a flight instructor. Again, just top notch, one of the best pilots I've ever worked with in my life. And today she's the chief pilot for Icon. And so she's flying seaplanes, she's doing delivery, she's doing instruction. I'm incredibly proud of her and what she accomplished. She sort of married this passion she developed for instruction with this love of being on the water and doing seaplane stuff, and is working with one of the most forward-thinking companies in aviation today.
Yeah.
So
Everything but the Greek islands.
not yet.
Yeah, but it's soon to come, I
Well,
imagine.
she posted on Facebook the other day. She just got her helicopter certificate, so
wow.
now she's a helicopter pilot too. I mean, but we like that. I like for students to come in and develop their love of aviation. That's what I was taught. This is what my first instructor told me.
Yeah.
So you find your niche and then find your other niche and your other niche and your other niche, because it's not...
Keep pursuing your passions.
Yeah, there's not one foxhole for most people in this business.
Indeed.
There's so many things to do, and it's a lot of fun.
It
My
is.
office view is incredible.
Is it? Looking out on the airport, I imagine.
You can't, that and the airplane. I mean, I used to tell people, that the first time I really realized I was in completely over my head, and by that I mean that I was being grossly overpaid for what I was doing. I was in a King Air 200 over Atlantic City, New Jersey at sunset. The sun's going down, boardwalk lights come on. We're at 29,000 feet. I look out and you can see just on the edge of the horizon, it's not a completely straight line. It's got a little bit of a curve to it.
A little bit of a curve.
And I looked over at the guy I was flying with and I said, I cannot believe they pay us to do this. This is incredible.
You do it for free, but don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody.
Exactly. How many years have you been flying, Eric?
I actually started flying the day after my 13th birthday as a bribe to get me to do good in school.
Oh.
Even you would think running an aerospace program at a college must have been a great student. I was a terrible student. No interest in school at all. My parents bribed me with my love of aviation. And normal kids got an allowance. I got an hour of flight time a month if I cleaned up after myself and babysat for my parents, took care of my sister. So that was my deal. I soloed on my 16th birthday, which was a Sunday. So I guess I could fly by myself before I could drive by myself.
Very good.
Yeah, it was an incredible journey. And I've only got my parents to thank for it. They saw that I had the ability. I just didn't have the direction. And aviation for me was the thing that it was a passion from day one. And I've never looked back. I can't imagine doing anything else with my life, really.
So does the school have a number of aircraft that you use for flight training for your students?
Yeah, we operate 17 aircraft here in Lakeland, which makes this week great because flight operations is shut down. It's not like we can do flight training right now.
Right. It's kind of busy here this week,
It is a little bit busy. So our students we cancel all of our classes, and we have the students come over here and volunteer because
Wonderful.
I'm, again, not career academic material myself, so I believe that those out-of-the-classroom experiences in many cases are more important than what you get from a textbook. So
Indeed.
What they're going to learn here in a week is worth about a semester with us. So.
Very good, very good. So do you fly some of the Polk State College aircraft then as well yourself?
I do, yeah. I mean, I stay current. Unfortunately, my schedule is such that I don't get to provide as much instruction or evaluation as I would like. I still love flight instruction. I would, if I could make a lateral move from where I am now to being a career flight instructor again, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Really? You have that much love for it?
I love watching that light bulb go off under somebody's head. But
I share that passion.
I really love what I do now. I love watching these guys come in and you see them on the first day and you're like, man, I hope they make it because they've really got this passion. And then, 3.5, 4 years later, they're posting their I just got my job offer letter, and you're.
That has to be very fulfilling
cool.
for you,
It's
having
really
had a
cool.
part in that.
Yeah.
Certainly they did a lot of the hard work, but the part that you had for inspiring them or leading them in the right direction, giving them ideas, giving them options that are theirs to pursue and the like, all that's important and I'm sure very fulfilling for you. I share that passion as a flight instructor, finding someone that I can help improve their skills or refresh their skills or learn brand new skills. It's just incredibly rewarding to me as a flight instructor, as it obviously has been to you. One last question I wanted to ask about Polk State College. So are you into small UAS training for students as well?
We actually launched an Introduction to Unmanned Aircraft Systems course a little over a year ago. It's been very popular. I actually built it as an elective in all of my degrees. So even if you're in the maintenance degree, you can use this as an elective. And the purpose of the course is certainly to prepare people for the 107 exam if they're not already pilots. Many of our pilots, of course, will take the elective, and then there's no need for the 107 exam. It's just the online course. But interesting story. I had a graduate of the program who has always loved RC aircraft. He talked one of his other fellow graduates into investing some serious money in buying some high-end commercial UAS equipment. They went out and started filming commercials. They started doing all sorts of aerial survey work. The first year they were in business, they grossed over $100,000.
Oh my goodness.
And that's just in Central Florida.
Wow.
I asked him if he was hiring. Yeah, so we love UAS. Here in Polk County, we have a huge training contingent in public safety and agriculture. There's so much cattle and citrus in this area. Agriculture is a huge piece of that. Real estate, obviously, is a huge thing in Florida, buying and selling all the time.
Yeah.
And so we focused our program on community needs. It's what we are. I mean, we are what used to be called a state college. In Florida, once you have a bachelor's degree, when you're issuing bachelor's degrees, we call those institutions state colleges. So our first and primary interest is to serve our local community. And so it's what does our community need? It needs this. And so we've had great success with that UAS program. We think it's great. We're actually talking about right now moving that outside of the credit house into the non-credit side to make it
more
freely available.
More freely available
to people
anyway.
for people who are not looking for an entire degree.
Well, that's good.
But are just looking for a certification option.
Wonderful. Well, that's another option for folks attending Polk State College. So our time has run out with our guest Eric Crump from Polk State College. It's been wonderful getting to know you, Eric, and to learn more about the opportunities that are offered here at Polk State College. 287 great young students here advancing their education and on their way to becoming something professional in aviation, either pilots or mechanics or business administrators. So live from the EAA Sun and Fun International Expo and Fly-In at Lakeland, Florida. It's been wonderful to spend the last 30 minutes with you learning about Polk State College and getting to know Eric Crump. Thank you so much for joining us, and I wish you blue skies and tailwinds.